Welcome back to a new series because, well, I have been already working on it. I just didn't call it like that. But welcome to my fat loss journey series, part 1. You know, I have been on a weight loss journey for quite a while. I did take a break to do a little bit more like inner work at the personal development school. And since last year, I'm back on track, but do it very differently. And I kind of wanted to give an overview of what I have been working on the past year and what I'm planning for this year, and also what I'm planning for this series, because I needed some time to kind of like figuring out and doing it on my own. And now I feel like it's okay. I can actually share it because I obviously also want to document how I'm doing things and maybe taking some learnings from it. First thing that I have done differently is definitely taking learnings from my previous weight loss journey. Last one I did was being with No BS weight loss program and having like a 24-hour plan where I had to write down everything I'm eating for the next day and trying to stay on that plan and not eating anything extra or different, and then evaluating every evening this plan. That was something that worked for a while, but I come to realize that this is not something I want to do for the rest of my life. And I remember when Corinne Crabtree talked about that she has been doing that for the last 13 years, I was like, that's not gonna happen. I can't see myself doing that forever. And that's where I also said, I'm not gonna continue with it. And it really made me realize I have to find something that is sustainable, that I can see myself doing for a very long period and not just like, I don't know, a few weeks or months. So that was probably the biggest learning from the previous weight loss journey, but also learning to accepting failures and setbacks and then taking them as a base to work on improving. I tended to delete all my weight loss attempts and everything that was in it, like all my wins and all my data, because I felt so ashamed of not completing it. And this time, thankfully, I have most all of my data from the previous weight loss journey, and then sometimes like to look at and, for example, see a pattern of, for example, May is usually always a really tricky month for me because I have a lot of sleep problems. So that's really useful data to have. And yeah, I wouldn't have that if I hadn't collected data for a longer period and kept it. So that's something I do this time. I have one file that's called Balance 365, and I'm adding things there every 3 months because I have my own document for every season. With that, I also learned to focus mostly on establishing habits that take quite a while, depending on how big or small they are. And now I, for example, see that even though like I don't have always my best days, I fall back into often healthy habits quite easily because they've become a habit. So yeah, I think that's a big difference to have made, working on these habits, trying to make them automatic and keeping them for the rest of my life. But also realizing sometimes you try something out and then kind of discard it. Like I had the intermittent fasting app for a while to prevent myself from late night snacking, but it kind of morphed into trying to fast for longer periods. And when I kind of like stopped that and had more regular meals with 3 meals a day, I could see that was much better for me. So I just said, okay, then we're gonna discard the intermittent fasting app for now. Maybe I want to take it and try again at one other point in my life, but for now we just let it go and we do something else. Then one important thing was to let go of focusing on weight, and that was hard. It was definitely hard. I was so focused on reaching the next. I did pounds on my last weight loss journey, so I looked at the next one and the next one and the next one. And even then, when I had lost quite a lot of weight, I still thought about losing more and feeling like I hadn't come far which just wasn't true. So I could see that daily weighing doesn't work for me, and it's not really healthy for my mental health. And I also could see that weekly weighing wasn't such a good idea either. And this is something that I've come to terms in the past 2 months or so, because I've learning Italian, and it made me really realize how when you start learning Italian or in any kind of language, you just start doing like the vocabulary, you learn some new concepts, you practice in them, but you don't check like every week, every day, how far you've already come to maybe the next level or something. You just don't do that because you're concentrating on doing the things. And that really made me realize how different I look at my weight loss journey, where I want to check the results immediately. I want this kind of like control. And that's something I had to let go. No weight loss journey is easy without support. I'm very grateful that I'm in Balance 365, which is a coaching program. I'm getting coached like twice a month. I also have an accountability group from there and a different accountability group, which I'm really grateful for. Thank you, girls, for supporting me. But I would say the most important thing that I had to learn for myself is self-accountability, self-compassion, learning to do the things that you want to do in the beginning in very small increments, and then also developing this inner nurturing voice that is kind to you even in days where you fail, when you have setbacks. That took a while to develop that, but it made such a difference. It's like I'm looking at the world in a different way since I'm so much kinder to myself. And then when that happens, I also could see that obviously I want to reach my weight loss goal at one point, but it feels a bit less, what shall I say, immediate, that I have to do it as fast as possible. I just can do some things every day, but then also enjoy my life and doing all the other things I want to do. Now we can take a look at the 3 parts that are probably, for me in my case, the most important for losing weight. And the first one is obviously nutrition. I have worked on nutrition quite a while, and very different things that I have tried. Some stick and some don't, but I have worked on increasing my fruit and veggie intake, which I have done quite a lot. I'm also working on decreasing meat intake by creating more and trying out new vegetarian recipes. I obviously don't cook like 3 new recipes every week. It takes time. I try to aim for once a week, but it's not always possible. But I know we will get there because I know I will increase my vegetarian meals, and then they kind of like pushing out a bit of the meat ones. I also worked on decreasing mostly high processed food. The first one was soda. I started with like diluting my soda with water, first a quarter and then half, and then I was ready to say I let it go. It doesn't mean that I never have soda, it just means that I don't buy regularly when I'm doing my weekly grocery shopping. I don't do that anymore. Right after that, I also stopped buying chips, which is really helpful because as soon as I eat them, I obviously want something sweet. They're also always the first thing that I would eat if I come home and I'm hungry, because they're just there, right? And they're not so enticing than eating a carrot. So I had to learn that it's okay to let them go and just buy them if I really want them. I don't remember when I had the last one, but it's probably a while ago. Probably maybe November or so. So I do see a decrease, like a tremendous decrease in my consumption of potato chips. And this is something I have first done recently, and that is stopping buying sweets at the grocery store. That is still quite new. I had now a weekend where I bought something because a friend was over. So it's still not something that feels already very stable yet. But before I went to that step, I worked on making my own treats and maybe baking a cake, or now I have chocolate chip cookies in the fridge that I can just make. And there is something making your own treats. I definitely see that I eat so much less of them because, like, for example, I made like hazelnut butter cups, They're so good. And when I ate the first ones, I wanted to eat like several of them. But because they took so much time to make and there's effort, and I also know like how much sugar I've put in that, and there is a bit more mindfulness around it and more appreciation than having the store-bought candy. And it really helped me to say, we eat one, tomorrow you can have the next one. And I've already seen now, because my vision is at one point that I would like to have dessert maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but not every day. And I got a glimpse of that last week, where I had like, I think 2 days where I went from like dinner and realized, oh, I didn't even want some chocolate or anything. And that's still kind of like, it's not scary, but it feels very unfamiliar for me because I'm so used to have sweets every single day. But it's like kind of like a little glimpse into the future, and I'm really, really excited about that. But again, it doesn't mean that I will never buy sweets, but I want to make it like a conscious decision. Today we're gonna get some chocolate because I really crave it. That's okay, but I don't want to do it like as a regular thing when I'm doing my grocery shopping. Second component is probably movement, and I've been injured a lot when I've been working out, like here at home, but also when I went to the gym and do like group classes. And it made me realize that you really have to find something that you find fun to do, and that has to be your level. And thankfully I found Camino Ferry like in fall last year, and that has changed so much because her videos, she's a plus size personal trainer, and she does like really beginner friendly workouts, and they are between 10 and 30 minutes. Really easy to do. You can always increase if you want, can use dumbbells or whatever. But it made me realize how much it's important just to do the small steps every day a little bit and staying consistent with that, instead of like working out, getting injured, having to take a break, trying again, and kind of like this repeating this vicious cycle. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy working out with her. It's a lot of fun. I think I have done now over 30 workouts with her, and there was one that I didn't like so much, but otherwise I really enjoy it. And I'm also doing acro aerobics once a week, which is so much fun. We also have these cute dumbbells that I sometimes use for certain things, and it's also really based on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I have so much energy and power, I give it all, and sometimes I'm not feeling so well, I'm maybe doing a bit slower, and it is all about where I am at this point. I also thought about like water resistance ankle weights. That would be actually nice to make it a bit harder, but it's me who decides when to progress and when to take a step back, and it's not someone outside who determines that, like a personal trainer or a workout program. And I feel that is really important because in the beginning it's just about showing up, learning to be accountable to yourself before you then can increase intensity or whatever. So these are my thoughts around movement. Then we have the third component, that is rest. This is something I learned during my work at the personal development school, really learning that I had a very dysregulated nervous system, that I had to practice being more in a regulated state, which I do. Like I do some exercise in the morning, talking to myself in a certain way really helps, but then also learning to know what kind of needs I have, learning to meet them in the right way, and then but also taking like a lot of rests. That means going to bed on time. For me, it means I need a lot of sleep, so we just have to go to bed early. And then also learning for me was to, when I'm getting home from work, I'm very dysregulated. I need time to rest, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, depending on the day of the week. And that is something that I have to prioritize, because if you're not feeling rested, yes, it's so hard to do anything on your weight loss journey if you're not feeling rested. I do see, like, just in this month I had like 1 week where I didn't sleep well, and you could see it on my nutrition. So I find it super important, and I really try to prioritize as much as possible. Then the last part I wanted to talk about was measurements. I talked about that I stopped doing daily and weekly weighing, but I have found a method that is from the Mayo Clinic. It's called the AKO method. R stands for reducing, K stands for keeping off, and O stands for off days. And you every day in the evening, you just give yourself one of the letters, and depending on how your nutrition was that day and your movement. They have it, I think, connected with calories. If you have like kind of stayed under your calorie budget, and then if you kind of stayed on it and then off, yeah, if you were over it, you got an off day. But, and also like depending on if you worked out or not. But I just found my own system. I know on days where I have been eating quite healthy, where I have been eating mostly when I was hungry and stopped when I was satisfied, where I have moved a lot, I know this is a reducing day. And a maintenance day, I do see that I have eaten maybe a bit more sweets, or maybe haven't moved a lot. Maybe I didn't sleep so well. That's often kind of combined. And then off days, I know I have been overeating. I haven't taken so good care of myself, maybe eating breakfast too late or dinner too late, or yeah, things like that. And it really helps me to see how my weeks are going. And for example, this month I had like an increase in my body fat, and I'm pretty sure it was because there was Christmas and then I was sick and then I had sleep problems. So most of the time I had mostly either off days or keeping an off days, like maintaining days. So it makes sense that I haven't improved this month, and it really helps me to see it like that instead of like seeing the weight or seeing the measurements and like, this is not working, and yeah, giving up or doing anything drastically. I just don't do that anymore, and that really has helped, even though it takes longer, definitely, but that's okay. So this was my first episode on my fat loss journey. I will definitely continue on doing videos. I'm not sure how the concept's gonna be, if I will do what I eat in a day, or if I just take you along or talk about like mindset shifts, or maybe talking about when I'm having setbacks, how I'm doing, how I got back on track and things like that. We'll see. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I see you very soon on next Sunday. Have a good one. Bye bye.